Hi, today I'm going to show you how to do your seasonal tire change when you have the extra wheels. It's quite simple, just a few things to keep in mind. Now I'm putting on my winter tires, but this is exactly the same operation you would do in the summertime. So let's get to it. What you want to do, a few days in advance, maybe for a couple of days, just get a penetrating oil. Any brand, your favorite brand, WD-40, whatever, like this one. Which one's on sale? Because they're all pretty well the same. And just give a small squirt on all your nuts. Not your manly nuts, but your wheel nuts. Okay, a couple of days in advance, maybe every day. And just before doing your tire change. I'm going all over the place. Okay, one of the things you want to do, this is optional of course, but it's probably better to do, is to measure your tread depth and to measure it at the same spot on every tire. Okay? And the ones with the most tread depth, which happen to be this ones, you give to the wheels who give you power. If you're a rear wheel drive, you want the one with the most tread depth on your rear wheels. If you're a front wheel drive, you want those on the front wheel drive to give you the most traction as possible. Okay, so I've already measured those. Okay. All right, one thing you have to look out for, it's important. Most tires have rotation, like they have to go a certain way. This one is obvious by the thread, but not all are. Okay, those who need to go a certain way will have a marking just like this, rotation. Okay. Okay. Now we got our jack out and everything. What we need to look out for is our jack point. This is the same place where garages, when they lift your car. Okay, it's usually close to the wheel. Mine's right here. This is my jack point right here. Okay, this is where I'm going to put my jack. It's a solid point where you can lift your car without causing any damage. All right, we're going to get set up. Every car should have a jack in it. Thank you, Dad. Left me a hydraulic jack. Makes life a little bit easier. Okay. So I line this up with the jack point. Make sure my jack is set up to jack up. It is. Okay, nice and straight. Right on it. I just jacked up the car. Okay, first thing you want to do is you still want to undo the nuts at first to avoid the tires spinning while you're lifting. While you're undoing the nuts, is you want the tire still to be resting on the ground, but just barely. So like that. Okay, that's what it looks like. There we go. Yeah, just touching like that. You want to loosen them up. You don't want to take them off yet. I have my handy tool here. Handy man. And I'm just going to. Okay. All right. With a hand jack, you don't want to take them off. This tool doesn't give me a choice. So here we go. So I lied. Sort of. after you loosen the nuts, then you want to lift it. You don't want to lift it too high. That'll just make put in the new tires harder to put in. So you gotta just take it off, set it to the side, place we've already determined. Okay, now paying attention to the rotation rate, the tires you've decided you're going to put, in this case on the back, roll it up. If you want to avoid a lot of trouble for next year, for next season that is, okay? These nuts will rust. All that will rust together. So if you want to avoid a lot of trouble, just a little bit of grease. I use canned grease because don't get my fingers dirty. Because these things will rust and you won't be able to get them off. They might break. I also do this center, keep it from rusting. Because it's in the winter it's not enclosed. A little bit on the side too, keep the tires from jamming. Sometimes from the heat of the brake, the tires will be hard to take off. Okay. Did you bring your tire up front? Line up bring that close. Line up the nuts. And since you did not lift the wheel too high, it should almost go right in. Just a bit of lift. There you go, you're right in. Okay. Now the most important part right here. This is the most important part. Again, I'll get out of your way. Is these nuts should go on freely. I mean, you should be able to bring them in without any issues at all. If you don't, they might be stripped. So you want to bring them in at least halfway by hand. Okay? That way, because, oh, dirty hands. I'll be back. Yes, with a tool like this, these things are so powerful, it'll strip your nut, and then you'll have to go to the garage and get it fixed, or get another YouTube that's a lot more complicated, how to change the bolts and the nuts on your car. You don't want to do that. You really want to put it in with your hand. So I'm just going to tighten them up a bit first. This time I'm not lying. Okay. And you go opposite sides. I know it's 5 lugs and you can't go exactly opposite sides, but somewhat opposite sides. And you want these, because your wheel is in the air, especially if you're using a hand tool, you know, the old X bar there, or its cousin, just the one. Then your wheel at this point would spin. So it's all nice and tight now, just tight enough. So then I want to bring it down completely. And I'm a lucky guy. Well, sometimes lucky. My tool here has an automatic setting for the perfect tension. Written right on it. I don't know if you see it, 125 pounds square inch. If you're doing it by hand, you can either buy or go to a shop that lends tools for the day and lend a torque wrench. That'll give you, you'll see it'll have like readings on the side. You can set it to 125 and that'll be the same. If you don't, just make these real tight. I mean, once they're real tight, I've done it for years and years, just by hand with no torque wrench. And as long as they're real tight, there's no difference. Nothing silly's going to happen. The wheel's not going to pop off. They're tight. Once they're tight, they're tight. But nice and real tight. I always do it twice, just to be sure. Only takes a few seconds. Better safe than sorry. Some of them actually turn, so it's always good to do it twice. So now they're nice and tight. They're 125 pounds per square inch. And as you can see, my rotation is in the right direction for the car. That's something you definitely don't want to get wrong. That's it. How much pressure, how many pounds per square inch you should put? Okay, cars are different. Some it's 115, some 120, some 125, some more. If you have a truck, it's more. It's all in your owner's manual, your car owner's manual, or if you don't have one, and just Google it, and you'll find it easily on Google what the torque should be. And there you go. You've done it. Got 4 wheels to do. Usually an hour and a half. That's pretty well all you need. Alright, so thanks for listening. There you go. I'm going to do the rest of my wheels and be ready for winter. Alright, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Okay, just a few safety rules. Okay, most are evident, but first, never put any part of your body, hands or whatever, feet, legs, under the car when you're changing your wheels. When your car is jacked up, just in the odd chance that the car will come down, then you'll get stuck, or you'll get killed, or both. Another one is when you're putting a little grease on the lugs, be sure you don't get any on the brake area, on the brakes. If you do, wipe them off immediately and thoroughly. Okay, make sure there's no grease at all, grease or any lubricant on the brake pad itself. Well, first of all, you won't have any braking on that wheel. Second of all, it might catch fire if it heats up. Okay, and there's 2 things you definitely don't want. Okay, last rule: it's preferable to have the parking brake on and to make sure that your car is in park, or if it's a manual shift, maybe put it in reverse. Make sure that your car will not move when you jack it up. That's very important as well. Okay, parking brake is preferable. Okay, since you'll only have one wheel up at the time, the other one should be able to block. For additional safety, you can put bricks or whatever in front and behind a couple of the wheels. Make sure the vehicle doesn't move, and of course to be on a very flat surface so the car doesn't have a tendency to want to roll down or up. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's good.